Before we get into today's show, I want to let you know that right now over at EquiLife, we're giving away one of our community's favorite holiday-based items, and that is the gluten and dairy support enzyme. It's an enzyme that helps to cut down on bloating and gas and inflammation over the coming holidays. This is a product that is simple to take. You simply take one or two before that dinner or that meal or even that dessert. You can double up if you need to. Clinically proven to help decrease the bloating, the gas from gluten and dairy. Not only that, it helps with vegan-based beans and proteins as well. So if you're someone that gets gas and bloating from beans, etc., you can take one or two of these before the meal for help. Get your bottle completely free on all qualifying orders while supplies last by heading on over to stevencabral.com/shop. Now, enjoy the show.
Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified Doctor of Naturopathy, Dr. Stephen Cabral, shares with you exactly how you can reverse aging, take back your health, and live a life full of energy and passion, with new 20-minute episodes every single day to keep you healthy and engaged. Now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here today on this Friday review. I have hopefully what I think you'll find to be some exciting brand new research. I always like to bring you two research studies for the week. We have a brand new book review. I have so many books that I go through on a weekly and monthly basis. I try to bring you some that are leading into more of the material that we talk about on a daily basis, things that I'll be talking about in depth in the future on the show. And that's absolutely the case with today's book review. Plus, we have a product review, one that I probably should have in my hands right now, but it's not a product I use, and it's a product I can't recommend you use either. However, it happens to be one of the number one products in the world for energy. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But before we do, we always get started with a little recap for the week. So, excited to share with you that by now the Reimagining Health Summit event is most likely sold out. At the time of this recording, we had about 27 tickets left. I'm sure that it is now sold out. Next week, we are heading to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we're going to be holding an amazing event called the Reimagining Health Summit. You can check it out, the reimagininghealthsummit.com. But the tagline is the future of health today, right? The future of health reimagined today. Because what I'm doing is I'm gathering expert speakers from all around the world to speak at the event, TED-style talks, 20 minutes long, 25 minutes long maximum, and then direct audience participation. But not the usual come to the microphone, ask your question about, your own health issues. It's actually based on, what's going on right now that we don't know about and what's coming in the future. So it's a super exciting event. I can't wait to share with you how it went. I know there'll be a little bit of a down week right after that event. A little bit of lull coming off the high, but lots more to come. I just want to appreciate and thank the amazing speakers that will be at the event, the 300 plus attendees in the crowd, and then also my team from IHP, Integrative Health Practitioner Institute, EquiLife, as well as the Cabral Wellness team for making all of this happen. It is quite the event to put on an event, I'll tell you that, and it is a good 8, 9 months, 10 months in advance planning for these things. So believe it or not, by this holiday period, this winter holiday period coming in a couple months, we'll already be planning for next year. So that is how much work it takes. It is unbelievable, but it's worth it. It really is. Because when you work in a virtual world, like you and I are chatting here, either video, watching this on video or over audio on podcast, we don't get to meet. We don't get to see each other in person. So a live event is our way to actually connect, for you to connect with various speakers that you may be following on social media and actually community members, which is at least one of the most exciting parts about going to a live event, is getting to meet so many like-minded individuals. And so definitely can't wait to share with all those details. Stay tuned on social media for sure. I'll be posting live from the event the whole time. All right. That is that. We actually have a big debut going on at the event. I can't talk about it now, but a brand new product. This is one of those. Usually products take for us about 12 to 18 months from idea, formulation, to execution, to all the testing that goes into it, et cetera. 12 to 18 months is the typical. This one now has been going on for almost 2 months. So about little between 18 and 24 months. But we've got a really great product that I know you're going to love coming next week. So stay tuned. I'll talk about it more probably in 2 weeks from now, but I'll talk about it first on social media. I'll share it on social media, and then I'll be doing a Friday review. All right. Next up, what's going on over at EquiLife every single year right around this time? It is EquiLife's anniversary sale. This happens obviously just once a year. The company now is moving into its 6th year, which is pretty exciting. I mean, it doesn't seem like that long ago we really created the company, formulated the company, but time flies. I mean, it really does. And you could say that 2019 was the big turning point for the company. So when you look at it, maybe 4 years, but it has been around now 5-6 years of moving from my Boston practice, helping 20,000 clients or appointments per year, and starting to just expand to people all over the US and then now all over the world. So it's our turn to essentially say thank you. We get to do what we love to do because of you. And because of that, we like to give you a discount on already, our lowest priced products. That's the thing, is like we already price them as low as we can. Being a functional medicine-based company, EquiLife is, it already gets you the best prices on third-party tested products with all of the formulas that are actually research-backed and proven to work. So head on over right now to stevencabral.com/shop. That'll send you right over to EquiLife, and you'll be able to check out all of the different special offers on over our 100 plus products right over there. And literally all you need to do is type in that search box, whatever it is that you're looking for, you'll be able to find it. All right. Recap for the week from the podcast, the Cabral Concept, episode 2796 was living every day as if it were a whole lifetime. What does that mean? How do you do it? We talk about it on that show and why it's better advice than living every day like it's your last. So tune in there. All podcasts can be found at stevencabral.com/podcasts. All right. Tuesday's show is the mold, Lyme, parasite, and virus connection. Why all of the symptoms are so similar, why many of those get confused for the other, and how you can better begin to heal. Wednesday's show is the new research on why people can't lose weight. There's 5 big reasons, and I wanted to share that with you. They had a really nice study that was done, and this is just real everyday people that, if you're a practitioner or you're an everyday regular person and you want to see like, why isn't this person losing weight? Well, the 5 main reasons were outlined, and I thought it was worth sharing for sure. And then yesterday's show is balancing exercise, low immunity, and recovery. It doesn't have like the most flashy headline, but this is one of the most important podcasts I've ever done. So just anybody out there with chronic fatigue, Addison's disease, POTS, myalgic encephalomyelitis, you have to check out this show. And it's groundbreaking research. It's needs to be understood to a greater degree. And that's why I spent the time on the show, on the podcast, and then I link up all the research for you. That was episode 2799 if you want to go directly to it. Okay, now today's show is episode 2780. So if you want to check out the product review I'm about to talk about right now, as well as the book review and the 2 new research studies, head on over to stevencabral.com/2800 and just make sure to pick up your free copy of The Rain Barrel Effect while you're there. So here's what I want to share with you. I'm going to pop it up, hopefully right over my shoulder, right by the magic of video editing. We can put a bottle of Celsius energy drink right up there. All right. So what I want to share with you, because a lot of people consider Celsius energy drink a health-based drink. And while I am never someone that likes to, I always just use the word throw shade on any company or anything. I'm not that person. I'm not that individual. I'm going to give you the pros and the cons, and I'm going to let you make the best decision for you. And usually I would never speak negatively about any product in the world, but this is a product that is probably the most popular energy drink right now. So I'm going to give you exactly, if you haven't looked at the nutrition, what's in it, the 4 different types of Celsius drinks that they have, so I can be fair, and what to watch out for. All right. So bottom line is this: for most energy drinks, you have to be careful. Celsius has 200 milligrams of caffeine. So I know that there are many people that drink Celsius energy drinks throughout the day. Okay, well, the upper limit that most people are said to cap out at and shouldn't drink more caffeine is 200 milligrams per day. So one of those meets your upper limit for caffeine per day. Now, some people go up to 300 milligrams per day. Okay. If you are someone that's maybe 200 pounds or you're less sensitive to caffeine, but hopefully it's not because you desensitized yourself, then maybe that's acceptable. But you have to make sure that it's not causing an accelerated heart rate and it's not causing a spike in blood sugar or adrenal stress hormones. You can find those out by running a stress, mood, and metabolism test right at home. You can run that lab. We can link that up at today's show. But there is that worry. So if you're doing coffee in the morning, right? Let's say you're doing a Starbucks, you're doing only a tall coffee. That's already 272 milligrams of caffeine, right? And if you're doing a grande, a medium size, I think they kind of got rid of the tall grande and venti, you're close to 500 milligrams of caffeine. So technically, you're more about 400, but it can add up. Now you add 200 more, you're at 600 for the day. So let's be careful. Total caffeine we're putting into our system, because although you feel like you might be able to run through walls with all the energy you have and focus, it comes at a cost. The cost is spiking cortisol levels, depleting B vitamins, zinc, magnesium, and much more. Now, of course, you can supplement with those too, but the thing is, the goal is not always to supplement because you're depleting, right? The goal is not to deplete and only supplement what you need. Like that's really important. All right. And then it contains a bunch of good products. So it contains vitamin C, only 60 milligrams. Not going to do a whole lot with 60 milligrams, but 60 milligrams of vitamin C, not bad. Small amount of riboflavin, it's 1.7 milligrams. Small amount of niacin, 20 milligrams, not bad, but small amount. Small amount of pantothenic acid, 10 milligrams. Keep in mind, like dosages of those are typically 100 milligrams or more. Vitamin B6, usually you're looking for a dose of around 25 to 50 milligrams. It's 2 milligrams, 300 micrograms of biotin, usually looking at 1,000 micrograms to 5,000 micrograms. So 300 is not bad. Again, it's something. 6 micrograms of cobalamin, B12. I'm assuming it's cyanocobalamin. It's not the most absorbable form, not ideal, but it is what it is. 50 micrograms of chromium. So those are the B vitamins. They're not bad. It's good to have some B vitamins in there. I like that. So no issues there. 50 micrograms of chromium. I can actually say that's pretty good. 200 micrograms of chromium is a real dosage to help with blood sugar balance, but 50 micrograms, not bad. It's 25%. Calcium, 50 milligrams. The calcium is just kind of thrown in there. It helps as an electrolyte. It actually helps because your body's going to be no doubt about it, bringing calcium into the bloodstream with the acidity of this product as well as the caffeine. So it is what it is. It's carbonated water. Yes, of course, we knew that. No, we don't know if it's filtered water, but it's carbonated. And citric acid. Citric acid is part of the ingredients because it adds flavor to it, as well as a preservative. And then fruit and vegetable juices. There's not too much of that in there. That's like very, very small because there's only 2 carbs. So how much fruit and vegetable juice can there be, right? Very, very small amount. And then there's sucralose, which is another word for Splenda. You know that we're not advocates of Splenda because basically it's a sugar molecule and molecularly changed by putting in one additional chlorine molecule, not good for the gut, not good for the gut microbiota. And then there's natural flavor. We don't exactly know what that comes from, but that is what it is. All right. So then they have a Celsius Naturals. And the Naturals, all they're really doing is switching out the Splenda, and they're adding in erythritol, which is a sugar alcohol. So for some, it can cause digestive distress. Not for everyone, but certainly if you have candida, bacterial overgrowth, it could, because it's a part of the FODMAPs. And then there's stevia. So they're adding in stevia leaf as a sweetener instead of the sucralose. Much bigger fan of that. I don't love sugar alcohols, but I'd much rather go with that for sure than I would with the first one. So that's the change to the Celsius Naturals. So that's a better one. Still has 200 milligrams of caffeine, still has all the same vitamins and minerals. Okay. So then there's Celsius On The Go. These are the powders. And this one contains Splenda, plus it contains, which is called sucralose, plus it contains the erythritol. So the erythritol, again, is that sugar alcohol. And then it contains annatto. Annatto or annatto is simply coloring that they're putting in. Not necessarily from a negative form, but we don't know. And then there's sodium bicarb, and the sodium bicarbonate is there as a electrolyte, adds a little bit of fizz as well. So it gives you that little effervescent based je ne sais quoi. And then there's the Celsius Heat. And the Celsius Heat actually adds another 100 milligrams of caffeine. So that's the difference. Plus it adds 2 grams of citrulline. So that's going to be a vasodilator, kind of like the old NO2 pump, like help to create more nitric oxide potentially. And then there is sucralose as a sweetener there. So just letting you know, those are the big differences between them. And then what they do is they add what they call a meta plus blend. That's taurine, guarana, caffeine, which we already know how much is in there, the glucuronolactone, the ginger extract, and then the green tea extract. So typically when you put them in this order, it means the ones at the top have the most, and then as you move down, they have the least. So taurine, great product, nothing wrong with that. Guarana can add some caffeine as well. Caffeine, we know it's caffeine. And then we start to move down the list. I would actually love to see green tea up there more towards the top with the EGCG, but that's not the way that it is. So I don't necessarily have an issue with a lot of these other ones, but I'm not sure that that's what makes it healthy. So what I wanted to share with you, even though there's not a lot of calories, right? Well, I think it's like 10 to 15 calories per serving. What I want to share with you is that overall, this is not a health product in my opinion. This is an energy-based drink, and it can put you at a detriment depending on how much of you're taking in per day. Now, let's say you're drinking this versus coffee. My only issue is I don't think it's a great head-to-head. I think coffee has way more benefit than a Celsius energy drink, because at least coffee is coming from a fairly natural source, and you're getting all of the brain-derived neurotropic factor I talked about before, great for the brain. It has its own natural caffeine, or you can do decaf if you wanted to. And it also is very powerful in antioxidants, where this one, I don't know, I think that really remains to be seen. So my take on it is, it's when I look at the grand scheme of things, I don't love Splenda as a sweetener. I'd much rather the stevia-based natural one. And then, yes, it has some B vitamins, but I'm certainly not drinking this energy drink for a low dose of B vitamins, low dose of vitamin C, a little bit of calcium. You're really drinking this for the caffeine. That's what you're doing it for, right? Like that's the main reason. So if you're drinking it for the caffeine, just decide that, is this where you want to get your caffeine from? Or is it just more interesting, right? Because you could get it from coffee, which I would argue is far healthier. The other thing you could do is simply drink a matcha green tea. And drinking 2 to 3 cups of matcha green tea would and arguably be the healthiest out of all of them, because you're getting the EGCG, etc. Now, coffee, again, I've done a lot of shows on it. Very powerful antioxidants, great for the brain. EGCG is great for the liver, the entire body. It's potentially anti-cancer. So matcha, organic matcha, ceremonial grade green tea is probably the best one to go with. And then you can flavor it how you like. You can even add some soda water to it if you wanted to, meaning like natural Pellegrino or carbonated water if you really wanted to. So you can start to come up with your own. I'm a big fan of matcha, or basically organic matcha green tea. Add some crisp apple, daily fruit and vegetable blend, add a pinch of sea salt, add some lemon or lime, shake that up, and you've got a nice, really nice drink that you can consume with just flat water or bubbly water. So just think about different ways. I don't want you to be caught with the marketing that this is a health-based drink. It is an energy drink. And if you're drinking it for the energy, okay, well, that's your prerogative. And if that's where you want to get it, just make sure you're not overdoing it. All right, up next is our book review of the week. Book review of the week is Wired for Healing. I've been waiting quite some time to talk about dynamic neural retraining systems. I've literally been talking about it for years, but never done a specific show on it. Annie Hopper is one of the, let's say, founders of this specific type of training. I'll be doing an in-depth show just on DNRS in about 2 to 3 weeks from now. So stay tuned for that. And why I wanted to share with this book is that I believe in DNRS. I've been talking about it for a while. There's a couple good programs out there. There's 3, and I'm going to recommend 2 out of those 3 once I dive deeper into using and really looking at both programs specifically. But I read the books on it. I've done the studies. I've used it with clients specifically, but now there's online programs. And so this is one of those books that will teach you about it. It's called Wired for Healing, Remapping the Brain to Recover from Chronic and Mysterious Illnesses by Annie Hopper. And what I want to do is just give you the synopsis. The synopsis is that the body can be under assault as well as the brain. And it can be typically from pesticide or heavy metals or even EMFs, etc. And what happens is you fill up that rain barrel. But in certain people, it can affect the brain and limbic system, basically your nervous system, more than anything else. And so now you have this debilitating fatigue, brain fog, really weakened immunity, and you can never seem to recover no matter what you do. And so much of that does have to do with the mind-body, but specifically from the limbic amygdala part of the brain, which is like, am I in danger? Yes or no? And what happens is with many people, the amygdala keeps sending out signals that from the hippocampus that you're always in danger, right? And so they put the body into a state of not being in danger. And that's what these systems can do. Okay, here's the thing. I've recommended and do recommend, and I'll be doing a big review on my top 2 in just a few weeks for DNRS. There's a couple programs out there. But what I want to say is I don't believe that this book is the best representation of the great work that Annie Hopper has done. And I don't say that in a mean or negative way. I really don't, because I'm recommending her work. But the truth is that when I was reading the book, I always try to read it from a patient or a client's perspective. And it was difficult to weave in exactly how DNRS is done. And that's the challenging part, because you're trying to promote something that can really be helpful, but it's not. She shares her experience, which is great. She shares experiences from many other people, which is great, but it doesn't necessarily show you a map, right, of how you get from point A to point B through a series of steps. And that's just what I wish the book did outline. Now, the nice thing is there's lots of great YouTube videos and videos that you can watch on this. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. It's still worth reading. There's nothing wrong with reading the book, Wired for Healing. Annie Hopper's done a great job in this particular field, and I'll be recommending her work as well as others on an upcoming show. So we'll link up that show for you, or we'll link up all of that, the book at least, for you today, and then I'll link up the programs in a couple weeks. So we'll link that up at stephencabral.com/2800. That's where all of that will be. Okay. And then what I want to do is give you and bring you 2 research studies right now. The first one is pretty out there. It really is wild, but I like to bring you, again, what the future is bringing to us. So this one was just published about a week ago. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Exactly 11 days ago, and appeared in Cell Stem Cell Journal. And what they've done is, for the very first time, they've been able to grow specific kidneys, human-based kidneys, inside of pigs, basically with pig cells. Now, before you say, this, how could this happen? How is this being allowed to happen? You're mixing basically humans with animals. And I totally get it. And I understand, because they've tried this before and it hasn't really taken, it hasn't really worked. But now, for the very first time, scientists can actually watch the human kidneys grow inside of essentially another animal, which they said transferred to, which essentially is a surrogate pig mother. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I'm not even sure that this is actually going to be used 15, 20 years from now. I believe that we're going to be doing what's called bioprinting. It's like 3D printing, but you're actually printing from human tissue. And then you'll be able to actually culture your own tissue so that your body doesn't reject it, with rebuilding and creating your own kidneys or heart or liver, like whatever it is that you might need. You'll be able to actually print your own organ, which is a perfect match for your body. But in the meantime, what if we were able to create these types of organs for those in need? And there's no easy answer whether this is ethical or not ethical, etc. But I just want you to think about this. If it was your parent or your sibling or your child, would you want them to be able to have a kidney if they needed a kidney? Would you want them to be able to have a heart if they needed a heart and there were no donors? Because every day there's nowhere near enough donors as there are people that need those organs. And the reason why they worked really with kidneys first is because kidneys are typically what's needed the most. So I wanted to bring that to you. I think it's a point of debate, and I think that debate should take place. So if you're watching this, I would love to hear your comments in the or your comment below. Let me know if you think this is ethical, whether if it was your parent, child, or sibling, and there wasn't enough actual available donors, because we know that on the other side of available donors means that someone else has to die, which is not the greatest way to look at it, right? So what if we're able to build and create real human-based kidneys inside of other animals and then extract them and use them for humans? Would that be something that you would be open to, at least for your family? Something to think about. I don't think I have all the answers on that, but I wanted to present it to you, that this is actually being able to be done now successfully. All right, the second piece of research is extremely interesting, and I don't know that I even have the best take on it yet. Neither do a lot of people out there, because this is some pretty wild research. So it says this: new evidence indicates patients recall death experiences after cardiac arrest. Now you can say, well, I've heard about near-death experiences. I've heard about people, seen things when they've clinically been dead, etc. But they've never actually known. So we can have the stories, and that's anecdotal, right? But now for the very first time, they have multiple clinical studies showing when people were, let me just check here. I'm going to read it to you and make sure I get this correctly. Up to an hour after their heart rates had stopped, some patients revived by CPR had clear memories afterwards of experiencing death and had brain patterns while unconscious linked to thought and memory. Report investigators in the Journal of Resuscitation, published by Elsevier. I don't know how you pronounce that, but this is interesting, okay? Because this is actually, they saw this. This is not just from anecdotal evidence saying that, great story, true or false, we don't know. They actually have the brain waves. So 4 in 10 patients survived, which is pretty high, but it says less than 10% of the 567 patients who studied were able to recover sufficiently. So only 1 in 10, unfortunately. But 4 out of the 10 that survived said they had some degree. So of the 10% that survived, 4 out of 10 of those people had some degree of consciousness during CPR that were not captured by standard measures. The study also found that in a subset of these patients who received brain monitoring, nearly 40% had brain activity that returned normal or nearly normal from a flatline state, at points even at an hour into CPR. As captured by an EEG, a technology that records brain activity with electrodes, the patients saw spikes in gamma, delta, theta, alpha, and beta waves associated with higher mental functions. Survivors have long reported having heightened awareness and powerful lucid experiences, said the studied authors. Well, it goes on, and I'll link it up for you. But basically, with an EEG, these people were clinically dead, yet on the brainwave activity, they could still see higher brain waves. So gamma is the highest level of brainwave with a stress-based state. Beta, basically high-level problem solving. Alpha, normal thinking during the day, brain states. And they saw these waves while people were clinically, as they call it, flatlined in terms of heart rate. So the body no longer working, right? Dead. Brain, something is still happening. We don't know what. Nobody knows what, but this just came out. This is as of 4 days ago, brand new research. They don't know quite what to make of it, but they do know that even if as the body has died, the brain somehow is still functioning, at least to a degree, and who knows for how long. I wanted to bring that to you because I think that, again, it's another fun one to talk about. Interesting. We can all have our different theories and conclusions, but it is a new breakthrough, at least saying that the brain is still working even after the heart is stopped and a person may be considered clinically dead. For how long? We don't know. Further research needs to be looked at, but very fascinating, at least in my opinion. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for the show here today. Wanted to let you know that tomorrow I will be back. Brand new Cabral House Calls. Every single weekend, we answer our community's questions, 5 to 6 questions every single day, Saturdays and Sundays. So tune on in. Again, thank you for your downloads, your subscribes, and of course, your shares with anybody you believe the show may serve. Take care. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into the show today. Much appreciated. Before you head off, make sure you know about the free dairy and gluten product being given away this week. It's one of our favorite holiday-based items. People love it because you know that you're most likely going to be having maybe 1 or 2 more cheat meals or flex meals than you're used to. It might contain some dairy, it might contain some gluten, some bread, some pasta, etc. Well, this is a product that has been clinically proven to cause then less bloating, less gas, less inflammation with just 1, 2, or 3 capsules per meal. Feel free to take it before the meal, before a cheat meal, flex meal. You can also take it again right before dessert if you happen to be having some dessert. So right now we're giving it away completely free. This is a $40 plus value, all yours completely free by heading over to StephenCabral.com/shop. That's StephenCabral.com/shop for your free bottle of gluten and dairy support on all qualifying orders. And yes, we will ship that anywhere in the world that EquiLife ships. Take care, everybody.